Welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Emedion James, coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Senate approves Tinubu 1.15 trillion naira domestic loan, fill 2025 budget gap. Federal government pays 18 billion naira insurance to boost troops' welfare. Plus, 6 dead in Ghana military recruitment stampede. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in just a moment. We begin this afternoon from a national scene where Vice President Kashim Shettima has said that the era of volatility and unpredictability that once characterized the nation's economy has ended. He credited the ongoing reforms of President Bola Tinubu's administration for restoring stability and investor confidence. Shettima spoke yesterday in Abuja at the opening of the Digital Nigerian International Conference and Exhibition. The Vice President noted that the current administration has been compelled to take bold decisions in response to global economic uncertainties marked by shock, shifting alliance, and a rapid displacement of traditional jobs by emerging technologies. Away from that, the federal government has intensified welfare reforms for serving and retired military personnel with the payment of 18 billion naira in group life insurance benefit and the establishment of a veteran data bank and call center. Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru announced this during a press briefing on the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day in Abuja today. Badaru said the welfare initiatives form part of government soldier first policy aimed at improving morale, living conditions and medical care for personnel and their families. According to him, the new veteran data bank would ensure efficient management of veteran affairs, while the call center would provide direct support to retired officers and families of fallen heroes. From the Red Chambers now, where the Senate has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to raise 1.15 trillion naira from the domestic debt market to cover the unfunded portion of the 2025 budget deficit. The approval followed the adoption of a report by the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt during plenary today. The committee noted that the 2025 Appropriation Act provides for a total expenditure of 59.99 trillion naira, an increase of 5.25 trillion naira over the initial 54.74 trillion naira proposed by the executive. This expansion created a total budget deficit of 14.10 trillion naira, of which 12.95 trillion naira had already been approved for borrowing, leaving an unfunded deficit of approximately 1.15 trillion naira. Now to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives has expressed concern over the alarming state of Nigeria's border security, revealing that 1,894 out of the country's 1,978 official entry points remained unmanned. A situation lawmakers said has left the nation dangerously exposed to criminal activities. Chairman of the House Ad Hoc Committee on Border Security, Isa Anka, raised the alarm during the inauguration of the committee in Abuja. He warned that the country was increasingly vulnerable to illegal armed proliferation, human trafficking, and drug smuggling due to its porous borders. and identified several factors responsible for the weak border control, including inadequate funding, absolute surveillance equipment, shortage of personnel, and difficult terrain such as forests, rivers, desert, and mountains. According to him, despite the federal government spending over 9 trillion naira on security in recent years, the expected improvement in national security has not been achieved. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives said it would investigate infractions and diversions of containers, excise duty leakages, temporary importation irregularities, and misuse of quota on importation of essential commodities in the country, leading to loss of revenue by the Nigerian government. Adopting a motion sponsored by Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Custom and Excise, Hassan Hussain, the House directed the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service to beam the agency's searchlight on custom officers involved in the transfers and escorting of containers on board through the use of technology to ensure every container's duty is collected and accounted for to its final destination. Houston told the Parliament that the creation of bonded terminals and fast-track warehouses was aimed at decongesting the port and facilitating trade, thereby making the port more user-friendly and boosting revenue for the federal government. In another development, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has filed an application at the Court of Appeal praying for a stay of further proceedings in his trial before Justice James Omotosho of Abuja Federal High Court. In a motion, Kanu urged the appeal court to stay delivery of judgment pending the determination of the appeal. Kanu's appeal may impact the 20th November date fixed for delivery of judgment in the trial. He filed the motion on notice in pursuance of Section 36 of the Nigerian Constitution. Recall that Justice Omotosho had fixed November 20 to deliver judgment in Kanu's terrorism trial. Away from that, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has reiterated its directive to banks to resolve customer complaints within 2 weeks, warning that unresolved cases after the deadline can be escalated directly to the corporation for intervention. The move, according to the NDIC, is part of its renewed commitment to protecting depositors and ensuring stronger consumer confidence in the banking system. Speaking at the NDIC Day during the ongoing Lagos International Trade Fair, the Director Claims Resolution Department, Olawale Sule, said the corporation remains a focal point for resolving customer complaints and ensuring depositors' funds are safe. Sule, who represented the Chief Executive Officer of NDIC, Oludaren Sunday, explained that one of the NDIC's core mandates is bank supervision, which includes examining banks, handling complaints, ensuring that customers' issues are promptly addressed, while warning that only banks duly licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria and insured by the NDIC are covered under the Deposit Insurance Scheme. Let's move now to Africa, where a Gabon court has sentenced the former First Lady and son of the oil-rich country's deposed leader, Ali Bongo, to 20 years in prison following a 2-day graft trial. Sylvia Bongo, age 62, and Noureddine Bongo, age 33, both tried in absentia, were found guilty of embezzlement, among other charges. The wife of Ali Bongo, whose family allegedly ruled the Central African country with an iron fist for 55 years, had been accused of manipulating her husband to embezzle taxpayers' money. However, she denied all charges. Still in Africa, at least 6 people lost their lives today after a stampede occurred during a military recruitment exercise at the El Wak Sports Stadium in Akure, Ghana. A statement issued by the Acting Director General of the Ghana Armed Forces Public Relations Directorate, Colonel Evelyn Ashmon, confirmed that the incident resulted in the death of 6 potential recruits, while several others sustained injuries. Videos circulating on social media showed long queues forming on nearby street as applicants reportedly arrived as early as 2 a.m. to line up for the recruitment exercise. As Samoa said, the stampede occurred early in the morning, when a large crowd of applicants breached security protocols and forced their way through the stadium gate ahead of the scheduled screening. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has found him allegedly defamed and sexually abused writer E. Jean Carroll. Trump's legal team argues that the trial judge Lewis Kaplan wrongly allowed evidence that unfairly influenced the jury opinion of him. However, a federal appeal court upheld the jury's decision last year, ruling that Judge Kaplan did not make any errors that justified a new trial. Meanwhile, E. Jean Carroll had accused Trump of sexually assaulting her in the 1990s and later defaming her by calling her claims in a hoax on social media, an allegation Trump has consistently denied. So on the foreign scene, France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot has accused military operations in the Caribbean at a G7 meeting yesterday, as the deployment of a U.S. aircraft carrier strike group escalated an armed buildup in the region. Speaking to reporters at the start of the Group of 7 gathering in Canada, Barrot said it was crucial to avoid instability caused by potential escalation after Venezuela warned the U.S. deployment could trigger a full-blown conflict. The comments came after the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, entered an area under the control of the U.S. Naval Forces Southern Command, which encompasses Latin America and the Caribbean. Still to come in the news. Messi regrets leaving Barcelona. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. On a business news, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Wale Edun, has reassured stockbrokers and investing community that the outcomes of the engagement on the capital gains tax would be in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. Edun gave the assurance at the closing gong ceremony to commemorate the listing of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated Real Estate Investment Fund Series 2 on the Nigerian Estate Exchange. Reports say stakeholders in the capital market had expressed concerns about the capital gains tax set to go into effect in January, saying that it may discourage foreign investors and dampen activities in the Nigerian equity market. The capital gains tax is charged on profits released from the disposal or sale of shares or other equity instrument. In health, the federal government says deductions made from the October 2025 salaries of civil servants were due to the commencement of the statutory contributions to the National Health Insurance Authority, NIHA. In a circular, the government explained that the mandatory NHIA deduction began in October, leading to the deduction notice across ministries, departments, and agencies. The circular was titled Implementation of Statutory Deduction for the National Health Insurance Scheme. The clarification followed widespread complaints by federal workers on social media over unexplained salaries cuts ranging from 1,000 naira to 2,000 naira. Still in health, the newly appointed Minister of Humanitarian Resources and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Bernard Doro, has assumed office with a pledge to work closely with the staff of the ministry to improve the lives of Nigerians living below the poverty line. Speaking during his assumption of office at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja, Doro promised to drive initiatives that will make hope a reality for millions of disadvantaged citizens in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. He said by statistics, the country has over 60% of Nigerians living in multi-dimensional poverty, and he believed Nigeria can do better with the resources it has. Emphasizing teamwork and institutional trust, the minister urged staff to embrace collaboration and transparency as a country. Let's move now to sportswear. Former Manchester City and Italy coach Roberto Mancini has accepted a coaching job with Al Sadd. According to Fabrizio Romano, Mancini will fly to Doha today to sign in as a new Al Sadd head coach. The 60-year-old is making a return to the Middle East, having been briefly the manager of the Saudi Arabia national team from August 2023 to October 2024. Meanwhile, his contract with Al Sadd is meant to run until May 2026. Still in sport, football icon Lionel Messi has regretted the way he left Barcelona in August 2021. He said it was strange feeling for him leaving the Spanish giant the way he did after spending many years at Camp Nou. In a recent interview, Messi said his exit left a strange feeling in his heart, adding that he did not get to live the way he intended to. Recall that Messi left Barcelona for Paris Saint-Germain as a shock to football lovers after both parties failed to come to an agreement over a new deal. On 9010 Men's News, Ace rapper Olamide has revealed the role that late indigenous rapper Dan Green played in his career. Speaking on the impact of Dan Green in a recent video broadcast, the YBNL boss admitted that the late rapper influenced him and a lot of other rappers. Olamide revealed that he listens to Dan Green's critically acclaimed album CEO for inspiration whenever he is experiencing writer's block. And that's all we have for you at this time. To ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. I am Emedion James and you've been watching Spectrum News at 4. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.